If you're running a recruitment agency and your team struggles to come up with authentic ideas that are actually trending, because you really don't want to be posting content that are stale and nobody is interested in such kind of information. As a recruitment agency, you need to stay on top of market intelligence, you need to stay on top of trends to know what organizations are hiring for and all of that. And that's what keeps candidates coming around as well to come to your page to want to know what is happening, how do I update my CV and all of that. But your team struggles to get such kind of information to be able to post. Staying on top of trends can be so much work, especially if you're running a boutique. Especially if you're running a boutique recruitment agency, you might not really have the personnel to be able to do this. So let me show you a system that you can use to help you do this. So here's like a breakdown of what you're trying to do. So what we want to do is every day or every morning, we're going to be searching the web and we want to return all the content that are trending around, recruiting and hiring and what organizations are looking for in the roles that we manage. So say we run a finance recruitment agency. So we're going to be looking for what, the roles, what, is trending about AI recruitment or sorry, what's it called? That is trending around finance recruitment. What are finance organizations looking for? What are the roles that and all of that? So once we get that, we want to put that into our database. This is actually going to be two parts because what we want to do is first find the news, and once we find the news and validate them, we can now go into the second system, which is going to take care of turning that news into content for us. It's going to write the content script and everything. So once we come in, we just get our scripts and shoot a video, edit it, and go over to other things. Right? This helps the team to work more efficiently and spend less time, content researching and actually creating content. So let's just go in and build the first part of the system. I'm going to be using Make, but if you use any other tool, it's still going to be the same logic. You just have to get around, the setup, right? So we're going to create our first scenario. So the first thing that we want to do is make it search the web, right? So we are going to call Perplexity here to search the web. I mean, you can use any other tool that you use. I just figured that Perplexity does the job for me. So why bother to find another one? So if you want to see how to connect your Perplexity, you can go to online help. You'll be able to do that. So once we are able to establish a connection, the next thing we want to do is choose our model. You can do the deep research model or you can use the Sonar, whichever one. But then if you are, because of this, the deep research takes a longer time because it's actually doing a deep research. But because we're trying to get this faster, just so I don't waste time here, I would, go with Sana. But in your own case, you can do like a reasoning pro and or a deep research works fine. So the message here, the first one is going to be the system message, and I'm going to tell it to scrape the web and find me trending news today. So I'm going to actually put today, which is when it's running today about finance recruitment. I want you to return the so I want you to return the title, return the following. So I want you to return the title, the description, the URL, the source, the published date, the author, and the content, right? So yeah, that's what I prefer. I think that works fine. So I can just say like maybe 3,000 tokens, or you can do higher depending on how much content you want it to pull for you. So once we have gotten this, we're going to save this and we're going to save this, right? So the next thing that we want to do is to the next thing we want to do once we have gotten that is to search our So once we have gotten that, we want to search our database first to see if we already have like content or we already made something about that particular topic as well, so that we will not go ahead and be creating the same topic all over. Because sometimes if it's scraping, it can scrape topic that was already published, but was just re-echoed just so maybe it now became more trending or more popular or something. So for that to happen, we are going to need a database. I'm going to use Google Sheets to establish this because it's content, so Google Sheet can work. But if you want to use like a table, it's still good as well. So we are going to be creating a new spreadsheet. So here is what I want to have. I want to have like source ID, I mean, yours can be different here, and then maybe source type, and then source name. And then URL, and then we can say article title, and then we can say URL, and we can say author, and we can say publish date. And then we can say and then we can include status. Of course, industry, we already know our industry, right? So I don't think we need that. And yeah, content engagement, we can add that if we want. And then the retrieve date is going to be when we are running it and when we got it, right? So we can always just add that. There is nothing wrong with adding that. See? And then we do status. And yeah, I think that's all we need. So I can delete this. So this is going to be the news itself, and we need another database where we can put in the extracted, the created content idea. And it can look something like this. So I don't think we need script ID, but what we do need is the title, which which comes here, which is the title of the, and then we do the hook here, and then we'll do the script here, and then we'll do the city here, and then we'll do the target audience. Of course, like I said, yours can be different. And then we do like the duration, and then we can do things like fact checks, status, all those kind of things. So confidence, fact check, approval, status, then created ads. Yeah, so that works. So now we have the content here. So now we have our news and our content, right? So we are going to go back now into our setup, and we want to search our, I'm going to call this news content. Right, so we want to now search our spreadsheet. So we want to search rows to see if we already have that topic already, and if we do, then there is no need to create a new one. And then the spreadsheet name is going to be what is news content. Yeah, so that's news content, and then the name is going to be news. So what we want is if the title equals, the title that we have here, content, or we say content, right? So we say if the title contains in what we have, so that means that it is a familiar topic. We do not need to talk about it again. So we save this, and of course we save this, and of course we save this. So the next thing we want to do is analyze that topic. If oh let so the next thing that we want to do is analyze that topic to be sure that it even fits into what we want. So the next thing is to even analyze the topic to be sure that it's a good fit for our agency and what we look for, if it's like good content to talk about and post about. So we're going to use AI to do that. So we want to generate a completion here. So of course my own connection already exists. If yours doesn't, just go to online help. You'll be able to see the documentation to do your own create your own connection. And the model here, I like to go lower for test purposes, and I'm going to do 4. And then the first one is going to be the first message is going to be the developer message, which I put these, right? I'm telling it to confirm if the topic is good enough for us to put, as content is relevant to recruitment, to what we do and all of that. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the news itself. So I'm going to put um one thing that I'm not doing here, or two things that I'm not doing here, is extracting the URL itself as well as getting um the JSON. So here I should have told you to extract, return everything as a JSON. So I'm going to put user here, and I'm going to tell you to return the as a JSON, return the title, description, and URL content as a JSON. Yeah. So I'm going to rework this just so it fits into what I want. So I'm going to tell you to run everything as a JSON. Return title as a valid JSON. Return title as a valid JSON. Do not include any words or explanation. Return only the JSON. So now that I have that, I can save this, right? So I've searched it, and when I search it and it returns that doesn't exist, I'm going to be going to my next which is going to be, I'll add a module here, and I will be extracting the JSON as well as I'll be okay. So I think we even need to rework the idea here. I'm going to add a module here where I will extract the JSON. I'm going to do JSON here, and I'm going to do parse JSON. Right, so let me even run this one time just so I will get the output, and then I can put it into what I want. Return the article. Return the article and return the and find me trending news today about. I want you to return the following from the news. Slash article. Right, so we say news or news article to there. PS only scrape reputable, only scrape from reputable sources. Want you to return the following from the news article. So the user here will say return only the return the output in a JSON format. Return only the JSON and nothing else. no explanation, no markdowns, no. So now that we have that, we can save this and then try to run this module again. So let's see what we have now. Oh god, let's see the choices that we have now. We have the message: no reputable articles were published in search results for today, so I return a valid script item from available sources. Okay, okay, so I think reputable is a problem, so we'll say we'll take this article published we can say published trending news today. Let's not say this. Trending news today about, let us run this again and see what we're going to get. So I think finance recruitment could be so niche, so it's struggling to find that, because I mean I'm saying just today, so it has to be trending news right now. So what I can say is about recruitment, or maybe hiring, about recruitment and hiring and job applications and hiring. So I will save this. I will save this. Nope, I'm not going to be able to save that. So I'll just go in and I'll run this module. So let's see what we get now. Not this. And then we do our message. Okay, so I just remembered something that, someone had talked about how Perplexity struggles to extract JSON. So I want to believe that that is the problem here. So let me remove this. I did hear another, specialists also talk about this. So let me remove that and run this as it is and see what I would get. So let's go to choices. Yeah, so you see, it has returned everything. So the problem was the JSON. So didn't I add a URL or something here? Yeah, add a URL. So after description, so why didn't it return the URLs? So here are the search results. So the URLs are here. So the title, the source, yeah, so they are there. So the problem is that it's not going to return the URL in the messages itself for you here. So it just so we'll have to get the URLs from here. So that means we do not need a JSON. So what we are going to do now is get the details here to run here. Let me also align this. So what we are going to do now is work with it and get our what's it called, our editorial to edit it to see if it is a good fit for us. So the title, we are going to do our search result, and here is going to be the title, and the source is going to be the source is going to be here, and then the published date is going to be yeah, date here, and then the article content is going to be Um, I would like to put the snippet here. So let's just put the snippet in it, and it's going to tell us if it is true. Like it's going to give us well this matters and all these kind of things. And we're going to save it. And of course, I'm going to save this again. So I think I will just let me see how many it returned. I think I'm going to work with existing data. So what we're going to look for here is going to be does not exist. So that's something that you don't want to forget. So you want to do does not exist here. So you only want to pull data that exists, sorry, does not exist. So if the total bundle number of bundles here is 0, that's when you want it to proceed, because we want to set if that title or topic has already been handled, and if it has been, then there is no need for us to do it again. But if it's not, then we want to continue with it. So we're going to do numeric operators here. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? So we'll do equal to 0. So if it's equal to 0, then we continue, right? So we continue. So we save this, right? And here, what I'm going to do is search by the title, right? I think I have better, so I'm going to do from the search result. So I'm going to search from the title here, because that's where we're going to most likely get a title from. That's where we're going to be putting a title from, not just, this message here. We're going to put in a title from here, right? So now that we have that, we are going to save this, and we're going to save this. So we're going to save this. So I'm going to go in and run this with existing data. Oh God, don't tell me that. So yeah, it's generating it for us right now. So yeah, you can see the answer coming here. Yeah, so this is pretty high. So I'm going to use this to extract my I'm going to use this now to extract my JSON. So now that it is high enough, I'm going to go in and create pass it into my JSON if the data is high enough. And so I'm going to extract all my JSON here, and then put it into my database. Yeah, so I'm going to do JSON, and I'm going to do pass JSON, and I'm going to call this content data structure. I'm going to say my news content. So I'm going to work with the data I've just gotten. So I'm going to do this, and oh God, I'm supposed to do generate, and I'm going to put the data here, and I'm going to go ahead and generate this. So you can see that everything has been generated out here for me. So I'm just going to save this, and then the JSON string is going to come from here, and then I'm going to save this, and I'm going to, of course, save this. Right. So now the next thing I'm going to do is go in and create this news in my system. So I'm going to go in now and create news in my news content here, so that we can, use that in our next setup to, get the news. So we're going to do Google sheet here, and we're going to add a record. I'm going to be working with my own connection. I'm going to choose my spreadsheet, and I'm going to do content. No, news. Yeah. So the sheet name is obviously going to be news. The first thing I want to extract is going to be my news ID. Where do I get that from? So if I come down here, mm, so the news source type is going to be hold on, let me even confirm something. Let me see how many um search result I got here. I got like 15. So now I would want to know if all 15 of them would run through this, or if it's only the mm. So now we're going to add this row here, and of course our that's going to be our news content. The sheet here is going to be news. The source ID can come from mm, it can come from, yeah, although that is not correct. Then source name is supposed to come from, then the article title will come from here, the URL would come from here, the author would have to get from here. So that means we are still going to need to convert these to our what's it called, to publish date. Oh shit. Publish date we're going to get from here, we can get from this, and then the retrieved date is going to be now when the setup is running, and then the title is going to be new, and then the content engagement is going to come from our just analysis. So we can do this, or whatever we want to do. I mean, like I said, this is just an idea. You can of course extend this to how far you want this, and then you go ahead and you save this and you save this. One thing that we have to add here is to filter only by the ones that the relevance is high. So we'll say relevant, right? So we want the one that the relevance score is equal to or above, say 80 or 70. We just want something that is high enough, something that is very relevant to us, and we can go in and do that. So we'll say greater than or equal to, say 60, and we will save this and we will save this. Right? One thing I would want to check here is if it's going to run through. So let's run with existing data and see if it's going to run through the scenario content errors. So let's try to fix that. And then we save these, and we're going to run it with the existing data to see if we can get, what we can get. I'm trying to see if, okay, so it runs just once, which means we missed a lot of things like these. So we needed to run many times and run us through these search results that we have here, right? So I'm going to have to loop, right? Yeah, I will need to loop it, right? So let's say I add the module here, and it's what's it called? Irrigator module. Yeah, irrigator module, right? So I wanted to irrigate or oh god, why am I saying it wrong? I wanted to run over this one as many times as it can. Since we decided to add this iterator, we are going to, rework some things here because we wanted to work with each of the individual URLs. So what we want to do now is come in here and change some of these things. So now we are going to be mapping this title to what the iterator gives us. I don't know what's the correct pronunciation for it. Iterator. I mean, I don't know. So the source is going to be here. The published date is going to be, of course, the date here, and the article we will get oh shit, the article is going to be like the snippet here, and that's what you're going to be using to qualify. And then we save these and we save these. So the next thing that we're going to change is going to be the data coming in here. So the source will come from our iterator. So we're going to do like the source here, and then the source name, and so the article title is going to come from here. The URL is going to come from here, and then the author, we don't have that here. The published date is going to come from here. If you want to make these better to have other things like I did, what you can do is add an AI module. After the iterator, just add an AI module, OpenAI module, to extract the other details from the what's it called, from let's find the name of that thing, from from these choices here. So from this message here, you can see you're going to see a lot of other details as well. You can ask ChatGPT to turn this content into a JSON, and you'll also be able to extract it like this and put them from there. You'll be able to get your author, you'll be able to get your source name, like actual source name now, from the message itself, right? Why I prefer this one is because I get the URL itself. The content here will not show you the URL. So I prefer this because I get the URL, so I can just directly go into the direct URL to grab the content itself. So that's why I'm working with this one. So I save this and I save this, right? So now I have all the details, and if I'm to run this again with existing data, I'm going to try to run this again here. So one thing that I didn't change here is here. So what I want it to contain is what is here. So I want the article, if it contains what is here, then it should set that, and else it should return 0. So I'm going to run this. Oh shit, I should stop this. I want to run it with existing data. So I'm going to run it with existing data now. Yeah, so it pulls through now, and it's going to be running each of them one by one for me. So you see it's getting the second one now, it's getting the third one, it's going to run like that and populates these for me. So you see it's populating this for me, keeps populating this for me and giving me relevant news that I can work with. So that means that the setup is working perfectly. But for you, some things might be different. You might not want to use Perplexity, you might want to use like the direct RSS feed. Whichever method you want to use still works fine. The most important thing is just to be able to search the web and get relevant news for your industry, to be able to create content around, and for the content team. So it's still currently doing this. You see, still populating this for me. So let me just populate, because I will need a lot of content for my step 2, which is going to be creating the content ideas and and the content script itself. So I think it has 15. I'm not sure, but let's just see how many it does. Yes, so it's going through these for me. Just remember, it's only taking the relevant ones, so only the ones that the scores are above 50, 60. That's what I use, 60, right? So as you can see how this looks very nice, and it gives me like the URL. That's one thing I really like about this. But if you want like the author, you want other things like that, of course you can, like I said, get your AI to do that, get ChatGPT to do that for your OpenAI, right? Rather, yeah. So it's done running this, and it has exhausted all the bundles for me. So one thing that is important, make sure you add an irrigator. Oh, irrigator. God, irrigator. See, I don't know, my accent deals with these things. So just make sure you add these so that it can run through all the sources for you and extract all the details for you. Yeah, so that's going to be the wrap for this one. In our next video, we are going to be getting the content ideas from all the content, all the news that we have. Now we're going to be getting a script. In our next video, we're going to be getting a script from the content that we have now. So if you found this helpful, make sure you subscribe to this channel. If you have any questions, if you encountered any errors trying to set this up, you can let me know in the comments. I'll be responding to all of your comments. And if you want something more personalized to you and you want to talk to me about it, feel free to book a strategy call with me. The link is going to be in the description. For now, thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day. Mwah!